In this session, I'm requested by some to talk a little bit on devotion. And of course, I'm going to touch on law of karma and reincarnation in short, because otherwise it's long and we'll be here until we reincarnate, so we must shorten it. And of course, I mustn't forget the idea of science. I'll bring the idea of science and how it relates to this deeper idea of religion. And I tell you one thing, when you're interacting with the youngsters and you bring this aspect in, this particular dimension, that science is in a way now resonating with this idea of deeper idea of religion, you'll catch their attention like no other thing. They really love it. My experience. First, let me talk about devotion. I think it's very crucial. What is devotion and what's the role? The vast majority of Hindus, vast majority, follow the path of devotion, not meditation. That's too severe. They prefer the path of devotion. So what is the devotion about? And why is it so important? And again, this is shared by many religions. Most religions are devotionally oriented. So pluralism says that there are many ways to think about the ultimate reality, and also says there are many ways of relating or approaching this ultimate reality, progressing. And perhaps the most famous, perhaps the most popular way is devotion. What is devotion all about? You see, devotion is something, people say, Mr. Lakhani, how do we develop devotion for God? Do we go join an open university course? It doesn't work, I said. Devotion is, do you know what happens, where devotion comes from? When you push aside clutter in your routine life, clutter, we get caught up with a lot of clutter, fanciful things we are following through, and they fail finally. But we spend our whole life, all our energy is following some fanciful idea, and then we give up. We collect a lot of clutter. This clutter in a way blocks our own understanding of reality. When this clutter is pushed aside for whatever reason, then the link that you have with the spirit becomes revealed in your life. And this shows up as very natural attraction to the idea of God. So if you are coming from a very, say, traditional family, religious family, in you it will appear as natural attraction to the spirit or the idea of super-personality. And look, all of them are very potent, so never undermine, think, oh, Mr. Lakhani talking about quantum, so that's the better way. No. Suppose I love the idea of Christ, that is the way. I told you, hang on, you are fortunate. This is the tried and tested pathway used by thousands of people over thousands of years. It's not a minor thing. If you are lucky enough to be attracted to this particular Godhead, follow through. So devotion is nothing but, if you like, the link that you already have with the Spirit, personified in a particular manner, revealing itself in your routine life. Suddenly you feel tremendous attraction. You don't know why. Now devotion comes in two forms. First can be more ritualistic. I do worship and I do adoration and I sing the glories, marvelous stuff. The devotion that is perhaps more crucial is that this is the real heart of the matter. Listen, let me touch on Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna defines different kinds of devotion. I've got 4 kinds of devotees. The first ones are those who are in distress. They become my devotees because they are under severe stress, and they say they're searching, looking out for a resolution. They are looking at saying, oh Lord, help, I'm suffering. They are in duress. First form, he said, nothing wrong. I'm the real father, the real mother. Who else can they turn to? Let them. This is one form of devotee, in duress. The second form of devotee that he said we get are those, perhaps more like Hindu mentality, who like to do commerce with me. Who are here for business, who want to do commerce, business. So they say, Lord, if I win the lottery, 100,000 donation. But I make sure that I win million. And if he wins 900,000, he'd say, Lord, you already taken your per share already? Good for you. This is kind of doing commerce. We do it, we all do it. We sometimes say, oh Lord, if I can, get, the Hindus do it, if I, get A star in the grade, then I'll donate so much money to the temple or go on a pilgrimage. You're doing business with God. And God is a kind of a, easy fellow. He said, you want to do business with other people, you want to do business, do business with me. Commerce. Second form of devotees. The third form of devotees are called jignasu in Sanskrit. In simple English, they are called nosy parkers. They say, who is behind this thing? I want to find out. I'm nosy, I'm curious. What is behind all this? They're just inquiring about God. They're very inquisitive. Nothing wrong, said the Lord. Fine, inquire about me. I'm comfortable. Three forms of devotees. But then the Bhagavad Gita says the fourth kind of devotee who I love the most is the one who loves me because he can't help himself. He's not doing commerce with me. He's not in distress and then looking at me. He's not just curious. He's just in love with it. These are the top devotees. These are called para-bhakta, the highest form of devotion, without anything in return. These are the highest. Look, this is so crucial. You examine our own lives. If you are related to the idea of God because of any of these other reasons, then you've got a limited, perspective on God. But you fall in love for the sake of love. There's nothing to be achieved. You can't help yourself. Suppose you see the Himalayas. They're beautiful. They don't do anything for you. They don't come and make a cup of tea for you. But you look at them and say, they do nothing, and yet you adore it. This is the grandeur. You are in love with this grand idea of the spirit. So be it. This is para-bhakti, highest form of devotion. And this is what Bhagavad Gita says. Krishna is a bit kind of partisan. He says, these are the best ones. Because they're natural. They realize this natural link with me, and they're just exploring that link. They're already linked with me. They've noticed it now. It expresses the devotion. So this is a short answer on devotion. Now, this idea of reincarnation and law of karma is very important when you want to understand not the Hindu tradition, but all the four Indic traditions. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, they all must subscribe to the word dharma, and they must also subscribe to the idea of reincarnation. Sometimes the Buddhists call it rebirth. Slight technicality. And the law of karma, central. So what is all this? I'll shorten it very fast. Law of karma is simply an observation that we make that the life we lead, everything around us seems to follow through in a particular manner. There's a pattern to this life. That's an observation. When certain things get together, certain results follow. We see it all around. This is how science started. We saw a regularity and we tried to understand the regularity by giving theories behind it. Fine. So this is something that the whole of humanity has been observing. There's a law of cause and effect in progress here. Always certain things follow a certain particular pattern. Fine. Now the Hindus say, let us also use this idea for human development, for human progress. So they say, the activities you do will produce certain consequences that you have to bear. This is called the law of karma. Sometimes the activity you do produces immediate result. You cut your finger, you scream, it's immediate, you pay a price, you run to the hospital. Sometimes it accumulates and then whacks you. Like, smoking away, things are fine, and you go, then, so after 10 years it hit you. So it accumulates and then thumps you. So this cause and effect. So far so good. You'll agree with your common sense. Then the Hindus take a leap of faith, if I can use the word. They say sometimes what you set into motion catches up with you in your next life. So next life, how does it find me? This is the idea of reincarnation.